Alright, so what's going on, fellow YouTubers? So today I'm talking about this radio right here that I have in here right now. As you see, it is a touchscreen. It has different apps on it. You can watch TV, well, not TV, but like videos on it and stuff like that. If you have like a USB where you can hook it up and stuff. Got the regular AM, FM radio, the phone, and the Bluetooth, of course. Yeah, I've been seeing tons of videos of people installing these things in cars, but I'm gonna say they don't actually show you how to install them. They just show how it looks with it in there and what it looks like after, kind of like how this is right now. Well, I'm gonna actually give you guys the tea and break it down how this was done. This works. Right now, I still have to get the antenna for my radio, the antenna for the AM FM radio. My Bluetooth works, but because I have my phone and I'm recording, it can't have sound coming through the speaker while I'm recording, so it kind of messes with the video. So right now I don't have it connected, but I can put it on tuner and you can hear the static coming through the radio, just so that you guys can hear that it obviously works. See, it's all the channels are like that. All of them are, because there's no there's no signal because the antenna isn't hooked up. But like I said, you can hear the static once I get the antenna for it, which I'll put the links in here as far as the antenna, the harness, and everything that I used, so that you can get this thing in here. It's not perfect. I still got some things I got to work out. I mean, but for the most part, it's in here. It works. And I had to turn that off because that static would have got annoying to me. But yeah, it works. Everything works great. And I can tell you one thing, compared to the stock radio, this radio makes this whole sound system in this car sound 10 times better. And this is not a Bose system. This is not the Bose. Bose would have the little Bose emblem right here on the, this is a M45. The M35 would be the same. It's an 06. But if it was a Bose system, it would be an emblem right here that says Bose on it. This is not a Bose system. This is the standard stereo that comes in the car. Now, supposedly from the harness that I bought, it says this will only work with the models where when you turn your ignition off, I'm not going to do it because I have my AC on and it's like 90 degrees outside, as you see. But if you turn it off, the radio turns off with the car. It doesn't stay on until you open the door or anything like that. Once you turn the car turns off, the radio turns off, everything turns off. So if your car radio stays on when you turn it off, then supposedly it's not going to work. Now, I don't know how true that is, or whatever it is that's different with the harness where it makes it different. I don't know, but supposedly if it does that, then that harness won't work. Well, mine's isn't that, and this harness works for this vehicle. So I'm going to break it down. Sorry for all the talk in the beginning, but I got to give you guys the information so that you guys know. Right here, this is the center console. You have to take this out so that you can get to the screws under here where this piece is. I'm sure there's videos out there, because there was a video I saw where a guy just basically did the same thing. This center piece comes out. If I can get it to come out. There it is. Okay. You can grip it from the side. You can get a screwdriver or a plastic wedge tool or something, the tool to take apart the dashes with and pry it up. It's just clips that hold this in. Now I still have the screws out of all of this stuff, so don't worry about it. There's screws that holds this in. There's no screws that hold this in. It's just clips that holds this in. But there's 4 screws that holds this piece in. For the I believe the Sport or whatever the model above this one, because this is the base model, has cooled seats. I believe cooled and heated seats, and that's where these switches are for that model. I don't have that. That's why they're just blank. So you take the 4 screws out right here. They're Phillips screws. Make sure it's a long screwdriver because you're going to need it when you're taking the radio out. So that comes out when you take those 4 screws out. Then you have the shifter console. This, you slide this down. It's just a clip that holds it on. Slide that down, and then it's this little clip right here. And it's weird trying to finagle it out, but I don't want to pull it off all the way because this clip will literally pop off and fly into the abyss. So I get it to where I pull back with my 2 fingers and then it just slides off. See, there's like these little 2 springs on the sides. You pull it outwards, and it relieves the clip so that you can just pull it up off the shifter. And that's just when you push the button on the front of it, that's what pushes this knob down so that you're able to shift from park to reverse and all the other gears. So yeah, that's that. Once you do that, you can take 1 and 2 screws out. That's where you can get the console out. Now this is where you don't have to start the car. Like I said, mine is just running because it's hot, but you'd have to turn it to the on position so you can shift it into drive. And then once you get those 2 screws out, you just lift up. It's just clips that hold it in from the bottom. Once you get that out, sorry, I got this plastic bezel on here I got to take off. Then once that comes out, boom, pull it out and then lift up, and that's it. There are some clips. I already took them off. There's a clip for the shifter, for the light for the shifter. When you turn it on, this glows up. There's a light. There's a clip for this right here, and then there's another one for the cigarette lighter right there. They're just like little push pins. I'm sure you guys can figure it out. It's not hard. Just pull them up and just literally push it in and then pull it out. They're not difficult. This is one right here. That's for the light on the shifter. They're just push pins. You push it in, squeeze it, and pull out, and it comes out just like this. This is for the cigarette lighter. Push it in and pull out. Boom. That's it. Done with that. I think, if I'm not mistaken, there was another one. I don't know. Maybe something else that I'm thinking of, but I forgot. I don't have those controls. So there would be switches if you had those AC controls right there. There'll always be plugins you would have to unplug, but that's not the case with this. Now that that's out, you got this. So get my screwdriver, and I'm only doing this just to show you guys I'm already done doing this stuff, but like I said, I still have to take it back apart when I get the antenna for this. The antenna adapter, because this isn't a regular antenna adapter. So there's 2 screws, one here and one here. I'm glad I have this magnetic screwdriver. That will come in handy because there's going to be 2 screws that's going to be all the way in the back on the side of the radio. That's going to be hard to reach, and if you got a short screwdriver, you're going to have a hard time trying to get those screws out. So best to get you a long screwdriver, and hopefully they're magnetic. So hold on, put the screw in here. So that's that. Once you take those 2 out, oh man, that was horrible there. Just change. I'm not worried about it. So yeah, there's clips that hold it in. I accidentally broke the clips off on the ends when I was cutting out this. So there's clips that hold it up against the dash. You just literally get from down here and pull out, and then this, you would just be able to just pull this out from the top, or you can use the plastic tool that I was telling you guys about to pry it up, and that will get you back in with, getting this piece out. Once you do that, there's going to be a few plugs back here that you got to unplug. This is for the clock right here. I'm just going to unplug that, and that's pretty much that. And that's it. Right now, there's a lot of plugs back there that's not plugged in, because all of those you're not going to need. You're not going to need any of these plugs anymore, because these are all for the stock radio. The only ones you're going to need is the harness, the one that supplies the speakers, the power, the on and off with the switch and all that. That's what this main harness is right here. You'd be able to tell from, I'll try to put some pictures in here in the video so that you guys can see and that's what that is. So this plugs into here. That's the band that supplies the power to the radio controls for the stock radio. That controls that. And then there's another one. No, that's it. That's just the one plug that controls the radio, that I guess communicates between the radio here going up to the dash here. Because if you turn it on, or if you do something right now, it says radio, it says audio off. If you turn this on, that'll say audio on. When you turn the knob up for the volume, it'll, you know, you'll see the volume going up and down. So that's how this communicates with the radio to the screen display up here. So you're not going to need that anymore, because now you're going to have a touchscreen that has its own display and it does everything for you. Is there a way to get this to communicate with that? I don't know, and I don't even want to go that far into it, because I don't want to be trying to do anything electronic that's going to mess this up and interfere with that and cause some kind of electrical issues. I don't have time for that. So no, I didn't mess with that. Moving forward, these plugs came out of the bottom side of the radio. Now, for the guys that seen how these radios are, it's basically like one big fat black radio with a CD changer in here, that once you take that screw, move this strap out of the way, and that screw, and then there's going to be two down at the bottom on the side that I was telling you about. One here and one here. Right there, you see the hole, and the radio is going to be in the way. It's going to be in the way. It's going to cover up most of this. So that's all you're really going to have space to work with. Literally, how you see going down the side of my hand. That's all you're going to have to work with, and that's why I say you need that long screwdriver, so you're able to squeeze in between the radio to get those last two screws. So once you get those two, one here, and those two at the top, this whole radio will come out with this module. So you take that out, boom, it'll be a big, like I said, a big fat radio, and it's huge. You'll have all these plugs back here that you'll have to unplug out of it so that you can get it out the way and out of this console. This will be in it too. Like I said, this is the main one you need, and then these right here. Now, this is the antenna. This is what I was talking about as far as with the adapter that I'm going to put in the links in the you know, in the description, so that you guys can get the antenna, so you guys can actually still use your radio FM and AM stations. Mine's is on order. I have it coming. It should be here tomorrow or sometime this week, I believe. It's actually a prime order too, so it won't take long to get here. And it's only like 15 bucks, so it's not expensive. This is the main harness that you need right here, so you can adapt the harness from the car to the aftermarket radio. Now, the radio, of course, comes with its own harness, which is this right here. The radio that I got, it comes with its own harness. It actually has two separate harnesses. It has a power harness for all the power needs for the accessory, on, off, and then the main power source, and then the ground. That's the one down bottom, and then this one right here is the one for all the speaker outlets. So front left, front right, rear left, rear right, or whichever one is for what it is. But that's what these are. That's why it's two of each color. One is green and black, white and black. That's what these are for. And then you connect it to this harness that I got also off Amazon. Now, this one doesn't have Prime, so it may take about maybe 4 or 5 days before you actually get it, but it's worth the wait if you're trying to do this. So it worked. I was hoping that it really did work, and I was a little skeptical about it, because, you know, a lot of things, when you find stuff online and some things say it's for this and it does fit, and then you get it and it doesn't. This really works for this car. 2006 M45 or M35, same thing, same difference. It's the same thing, all the way up to 2010, I believe. They all use the same thing. Like I said, unless you have the Bose stereo. Now, I believe that one has a different setup, so I don't know, quite sure. Correct me if I'm wrong, for whoever's done this and knows more about this than I do, but from my personal experience in doing this and putting this together, the way that I have it right now, it works. This is for the base model radio, not the Bose, the base. So I have this hooked up, just color for color, wire for wire. It's not rocket science. Just connect them together. I do it this way with the heat shrink and twisting the wires together. That's how I learned. That's how I've been doing it. I haven't had any issues with it. I've done it in multiple cars. I have a truck right now that I've done it in, and I've had it for 5 years. No issues. The crimp connectors, they're big, they're bulky, they're in the way, they make a lot of noise if you don't tie them together or zip tie them together. When they're behind the dash, they hit up against each other and you hear a lot of rattling back. I hate it. So I don't use crimp connectors anymore. I literally just strip the wires back. Majority of them come stripped back already, so you don't even have to worry about that. Take the extra sleeve off, twist them together really good, and then use your heat shrink and pull it over and put the heat shrink on it. This has the insulation, or what do you want to call it, the silicone inside of it, so once you heat it up, it actually seals it inside. No reason to have to have it, but it has it in it, so it's actually waterproof as well. But like I said, there's no need for it because it's not like it's outside or anything, but it gives it a better seal. It keeps it tight and it doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't move. It doesn't do anything. So it's a nice, good connection. They work for me. You can do it however you want to do it, but that's how I do it. That's just my advice. Now, there is 2 wires that I believe you won't need, which is this orange one for illumination. These cars don't have it nor need it, or if they do, there's no need for it. I don't think they do. And if they do, this particular radio doesn't need it because there wasn't an orange wire for this radio. So I guess it depends on the radio that you're using, is if you need to use this. That's for like the lights on the radio or whatever it is. But this radio didn't need it. And then this one is for your amp output. If you have an amp with a subwoofer or something, this is what this is. This is for the remote wire for that. The blue and white wire. Other than that, this blue wire that came off of mine, this is where you have to read up on your radio or follow your instructions so that you know what wire is what. This is for the antenna. This is the power wire for the antenna. There's a wire when you get the adapter. The power wire is actually the small one right here, and then these 2 are just like the signal for the actual antenna. So it's going to come with just 2 wires because you don't need both of them. You just need one, and the adapter comes with one that connects to the one on the right, and then the power wire, which is this little small one on the left. So it'll be 2 wires, and it connects to this, and then it'll plug like a regular antenna into the back of your aftermarket radio. That little circle right there that says A and T, and that's the regular. This is how Infiniti's antennas are, which is, I don't know why they got to make it so difficult, but yeah. So that's what you would need to adapt your antenna to your aftermarket radio for this. So yeah, that's pretty much that. I'll put the link in there, like I said before, for the antenna adapter and the harness that you would need to hook up your aftermarket radio. And that's pretty much it, man. The biggest and hardest part to all of this is not even the wiring. To me, it was cutting this freaking dash out. Why? Because a lot of people think it's plastic, and it's not. This dash is all plastic with metal infused inside of it. So there's like a thin sheet of metal encased inside the plastic of this dash. So it took me like 30 minutes to cut this square out with my Dremel tool, and I hate it, but I ended up busting my Dremel tool up trying to cut this thing out because it literally was just eating it up. It overheated and it killed it. But I'll have to get another one. I'm not worrying about it. I got it enough to where I got it cut out to where I could fit this in there. That would be your judgment as far as where to cut it, how far to cut it, how big to cut it. Guess you could take your own measurements and actually get it lined up to where you want it to be. That's all on you guys. But you just cut it out. Literally, it's not rocket science. It's just a pain in the butt because it's time consuming because it's plastic and metal. So it'll take a while for your tool to cut through this. Unless you're using like an angle grinder or like I said, a Dremel tool to cut through this, you're not cutting through this with a knife or anything. It's not going to happen because, like I said, there's metal inside this dash. So that's the biggest time consuming, pain in the butt part to this whole thing, is cutting this daggone piece out, cutting this section out so the radio can fit in. Now, I didn't use the bracket that comes with these radios. 99% of the time, the radios come with a bracket that the radio slides into and it clips into it, and you use the fins to bend the bracket to hold into the dash behind the dash, if that makes sense. They just bend up. Well, I couldn't do that. This is actually pieces of that bracket. I cut it up and I drilled my own holes to make it work with the dash where the old radio bezel sat for the CD changer. If you notice the sides where it's like this little U shape, that's where the CD changer used to sit, and that's where I got the radio centered in between where the CD changer sat. Now, it was just this little cutout. It's like a line that went straight across. All of this was just this wood material, so it was a lot of cutting I had to do. But the screws that held that bezel in for the CD changer is where I screwed the mounts for the radio, and I just drilled holes in it till I could actually mount the radio to the brackets, if that makes sense. So that part is where you guys kind of got to get creative and try to makeshift your own brackets, or if you want to do it with the stock way, you know, however you want to do it. That's the difficult part. I'm not gonna say difficult, it just takes a little bit of creativity. That, and then the old bracket where the stock radio sat. This is the bracket right here where the old radio sat. Now, this bracket originally came down the side along the radio, the old radio, and it held this module and the radio together. It was all one bracket. I cut the bracket in half, as you see. It's just the top bracket that holds this module. Now, the reason why I'm glad I'm getting to this, you have to keep this module. This module is very important because this module controls your sending unit on your dash. Why this is here, I have no clue. But when I had it unplugged and I was messing with all this wiring and stuff, and I had to start my car to move it out the way, this fuel sending unit, or the fuel, the fuel measuring, whatever, the gauge, wasn't working until I plugged it back in and it started working again. So this controls your fuel module, and I'm pretty sure it controls the key fob signal as well, because my key fob signal light came on and I had to do a key fob reset. You can look that up on YouTube or look it up online on Google. They show you step by step how to do it. It's not hard. You're gonna have to, more than likely, because it happened to me. I'm sure it'll probably happen to you. If it doesn't, hey, good for you. But you need to keep this module. You cannot get rid of it unless you don't want to see your fuel gauge and have a key fob signal. I don't know what else this thing controls, but they say that this also controls something with the HVAC as well. So if you don't want to lose control to your HVAC, your fuel level sensor for your gauge, and your key fob signal, you're gonna have to keep this. So I just cut the brackets in half so that way I had space to put my radio down here, and that's what I had to do. And now that I did that, I still kept this. Like I said, I'm not even gonna bother putting that back up here because the radio isn't here anymore, so I'm not gonna need this, and it no longer controls the radio anymore. So I don't want to interfere with the aftermarket radio, plugging that in and possibly having some type of electronic issues. So I'm not even going to plug that back in. I only have the clock wire harness plugged into where the clock goes in, and then of course the radio harness, and then once I get the adapter for the antenna, that'll be in there as well. So sorry if I talked you guys heads off, but I got to give the sauce to you guys because there's literally no videos out here that show you or tell you how and what to do when you see people putting these daggone touchscreens in these M models, M35s and M45s. So that's how you do it. Like I said, the biggest pain is cutting this hole out for this radio. Also, almost forgot. If you get anything bigger than a 6.8 inch screen, there's going to be a lot more that's going to come into play, because you're going to start to come down further into the dash where it's going to interfere with like your mounting holes down here, and it's going to cause flexing. It might even crack, it might even break. And then it also takes up a lot of the space up here. It'll be closer to the clock, and it just makes everything a little bit more difficult. As you see, there's little to no space between the bottom of the clock and the top of the radio where I have it sitting. There's barely any space in between there. So if you get anything bigger than a 6.8 inch screen, you're going to have a lot of fitment issues where it's going to start to interfere with other stuff. Now, you could probably make it work. Hey, the 6.8 screen just fits a little bit more better. It's a little more easier, and it fit in there without the bracket that comes with the radio. This is a JVC. I got it from Best Buy for 180 bucks. After taxes, it came up like 200 bucks and like some change. It is the, what is that right here? If it clears up, whatever, you can see it. The KW M180 BT. That's the part number for this radio. It's a JVC. It works great. It's got a lot of different settings on it. Equalizer, sound effect, fade in, speaker, cover. I mean, it's all kinds of tuning and stuff you can do, front, rear, and it also has subwoofer outlets. It also has subwoofer adjustments you can make. Sound effects as far as the bass boost, loudness. You could turn, you know, fade, all that stuff, everything, all the goods and everything you need. This thing has it. Equalizer. I mean, this is great. I love stuff like this where it's very detailed. You can adjust all parameters of the sound, the you know, different tones and everything. It's got presets in it. This thing is awesome. For 180 bucks, this is amazing, you know, and it's Bluetooth. It does everything, man. I couldn't ask for anything more. It's so great. So yeah, a 6.8 screen is what would be better, and there's tons of 6.8 inch screens out there. I mean, rather if you get it from Best Buy or Amazon, eBay, or out the store somewhere else, or some electronic shop or a radio store, whatever, 6.8 inch screen is the better fit. I don't even know if they have a screen smaller than 6.8, but of course, if they do, anything smaller than a 6.8 would fit a lot better as well. The smaller the screen, the better it'll fit. But this to me is like the biggest to me, or you're going to start, like I said, running into issues with fitment, trying to get stuff to line up and getting without interfering with other stuff. Because if you come further down and this radio comes right here, this is where the section of the dash actually meets the console where the shifter is. So if you come any further down, that radio is going to be sitting right above where the console, where the gear shifter sits, and you're going to have to start cutting into this piece, and it's just to me, it's just going to look raggedy. It's going to look botched up. I mean, you can already see right here, it's not perfect. It sits out a little bit. I could have done a little better job. I might go back in and adjust it, maybe sinking into the dash a little more. The bezel will probably cover up a lot, but as of right now, man, I like it. It doesn't look bad once I put the bezel on. You can't see all these botched up, you know, cuts and stuff, and it hides a lot, and it doesn't look that bad. So, you know, so once I put this on, look, you can't even tell. It's like, you know, unless you're looking from the side or the top or a different angle, you can't really tell. You know, like I said, unless you come from the side or you're looking from over the top, you can't really see the bottom, because that's sitting literally right above it. But you're looking at it like that, so it looks good, man. I like it. I love it. And like I said, this radio makes this system, even though it's a standard system, it makes this system sound so much better. It sounds so much better than the stock radio. I love it. I think any aftermarket radio would probably make this system sound so much better. But yeah, so, and then you pretty much, once you get all that, you just reverse the process and put everything back. So, and that's what I'm about to do. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope it helped out anybody that's looking to do this for their M35 M45, and catch you on the next video.